Hello there, YouTubers, fellow riders, three-wheelers, two-wheelers, whatever floats your boat. My choice is a Can-Am Spyder F3, which I've owned since 2017, and I think it's just about the coolest machine I've ever owned. It's a beautiful early fall day, and it's in the mid-60s, and well, unfortunately, we are facing very soon, in a few days, some really cold temperatures and perhaps a little bit of snow. Now it seems a little early for that here in East Tennessee, but apparently, according to the Weather Service, records are going to be broken in perhaps as many as 200 cities over the next few days. Cold temperatures. Is this climate change? Is this just an anomaly? Who knows? All I can say is I'm going to be missing out on some riding pretty soon, and I'm sure not too happy about that. I'm on Route 322 again, one of my favorites. It's a nice road. It's not a lot of traffic. Running into some slow traffic here, but that's okay. As you can see, the leaves are starting to fall off the trees, but we still have some pretty good color. Now, unlike the Northeast, especially, and to some extent the upper Midwest, we don't have as much red in our fall colors. It's mostly yellows and golds, but it's still beautiful. And this is one of the times of year I look forward to. I'm sure you do too. The sky is blue. There's hardly a cloud to be seen. Traffic is light. Temperature's nice. What more could I ask for a really nice ride? I bet you're finding some good rides wherever you are. Well, the bike is freshly serviced by Corbin, and he did a good job. He said everything checked out fine. Seems to be running fine to me. On the left there, a place that looks like an old gas station where the pumps are moved. I have it on good authority that they serve one wing dinger of a breakfast there. Now you wouldn't know it just passing by, because there's no sign indicating that they even serve breakfast there. But I've heard from a couple of sources that that's a great place to stop. Haven't made it yet, but I'm gonna grab a riding buddy and stop in there sometime and see what they have to offer. I don't think I've ever been to a place for breakfast in East Tennessee where it hasn't been a humdinger. That's for sure. The only thing wrong with it is it's usually too much. My wife and I are big fans of Cracker Barrel, and their eggs and bacon and biscuits and gravy, hard to beat. Pretty reasonable too, but I've noticed a couple of things about it. It seems like the price has been creeping steadily upwards. Why should that restaurant be different from anywhere else? And also I've noticed that the portions seem to be getting ever just a little bit smaller. The biscuits are a little smaller, the bowl of grits is a little smaller, the sausage gravy is a little smaller. The only thing that's still the same size are the eggs. Now, if they start serving pullet eggs, then I guess I'm going to have to reconsider about how much I like breakfast there. But overall, it's a pretty good meal. And they always have tomato juice, which I absolutely love to wash down a plate of eggs. Little left turn coming up here. Actually got a little bit of a twisty stretch in here. Always fun to ride. Norm was saying recently on one of his rides, that's Norman Kahn, hope I pronounced it right, that he was seeing some 80-degree temperatures just a few days ago. Well, that's a whole lot better than the 100-degree temperatures he was seeing not too long before that. I don't really know how cold it gets in Texas. I've only been in Texas maybe twice in my whole life. Once which was for basic training, when I was in the Air Force. Lackland Air Force Base, gateway to the Air Force, that's what they called it. I was only there about 6 weeks because those of us that were going to certain schools got to finish our basic training when we started our schools. It's like an additional 7 weeks and 2 days. I gotta tell you what, I think it would have been a whole lot better if we had stayed another 2 weeks and 2 days at Lackland and had been through with it. Because that was a real hassle, having to get your uniforms and your shoes and everything just right, and get out there in the PT field in 90-degree heat. The classes were actually kind of welcome, as boring as they might have been. But anyway, I was in ground radar, 30352. It's an AC&W radar repairman. And after spending just over a year at Keesler Air Force Base, I was transferred to a little radar squadron in Alabama. And I spent almost 2 years there. And then, unlike most of the other guys that were stationed with me, first-term airmen, I got picked to go to a remote Alaskan site on St. Lawrence Island. That particular island is not on the Aleutian chain. It's kind of up there all by itself. It's about 125 miles west-southwest of Nome. It's in the Bering Strait. It's a long island. It's about 100 miles long. And we were on a place called Northeast Cape, which describes pretty much the location. The far end of the island was only 46 miles from Siberia, so I guess it doesn't have to be much of a secret what we were looking for there. It was great fun. Well, it wasn't really great fun. There wasn't a whole lot to do there. Movies, the NCO club, and work. That's pretty much it. Except for the last month before I went back to Anchorage to clear out. Whoa! Hey there, buddy. Harley Davidson with some pretty loud pipes. Well, anyway, I had solved a big problem with one of the pieces of equipment that had been giving us trouble for a while. And the two guys that were going to be taking over for me decided we're going to run the shop by ourselves. We're not going to have you in a month, so why don't you just take off? So I spent pretty much the rest of that month in the library, reading, relaxing, and I never got called, so apparently there wasn't anything that they couldn't handle, which is a good thing for them, because the possibilities of things going wrong with equipment as old as this was were pretty likely. But anyway, the site closed about a year after I left. It wasn't my fault, really. But with newer technologies, those ground radar facilities up on the dew line were pretty much no longer needed. And I read somewhere that they were extremely expensive to maintain. Well, think about it. Every bit of supply, food, water, well, maybe not water, but diesel fuel, everything, all had to be supplied. And that happened with a barge that came in every year when the sea was not frozen, and it'd be about a 2 or 3 day project unloading that, and also getting rid of some stuff that they didn't need anymore. It was a pretty heavy-duty project. We were working 12-hour shifts until the project was completed. I got pretty good at tearing crates open. Well, that was the end of my career in the Air Force in April of 1968. And then for 2 years I was in active reserve to complete my 6-year requirement. And I never got called, so I guess that's a good thing, but I was pretty happy when my discharge papers arrived in the mail in fall, or rather in the spring of 1970. Had a good time in the Air Force. Learned a lot, became more self-reliant, and learned a lot of practical skills, using tools, and certainly working with other people who didn't always have the exact same ideas you did about how to get things done, which can be a problem if you know more than they do and you are outranked by them. I remember one case in particular, but I'm not going to go there. Well, anyway, it's great to have you riding along with me and hearing me go off about my days in the service. It's a distant memory now, but it was very much a part of my life. I'm sure those of you who served know very much and very well what I mean. I'm going to play a little tune and we're going to get ready to check it.
Bird on a tree, I'm just sitting here. I got time, it's clear to see. From up here, the world seems small. We can sit together. It's so beautiful, you and me. We meant to be in the great outdoors, forever free. Take a step back to see the truth around you. From a distance you can tell. You and me, meant to be outdoors, forever free.
And get a load of what greeted me this morning.